Happy Halloween and welcome to the Psychic Soul Healer channel. My name is Laura. I'm going to do a general message for you. Know that energy is fluid, so roles could be reversed. Flip it, switch it, twist it, interpret the message that best resonates for you. And when I say it, the message is going to be for you. This is an all zodiac video. When I do lives, I like to do them that way for now, just because the channel's relatively new. People are still coming on, and if they want to jump on and say hi, I like to be able to have a kind of open forum a little bit. All right. Now, if you're interested in winning a free reading with me, all you need to do is like the video. If you resonate with it, subscribe to the channel and write the word in your comment bar. What is going to be the word? Let's see. Well, it's going to be reactive. Reactive. That's going to be the word. And the word is always going to be the underlying energy of the reading. So when I see reactive, what I'm feeling automatically is you're in separation with someone that is thinking back about how they reacted, and they see that things could have been a lot different because they reacted. That's the energy that I'm feeling. Again, usually when we react and we are not in a balanced place, meaning we're coming from a place of fear. We're not in a good place. Maybe a lot of things are going on in our life. Maybe we have to venture into a new area that we don't feel secure in. It doesn't matter what the reason is. We tend to get caught up in the reason. But when we're talking about shadows and we're talking about spiritual blocks, which the readings which I do here on the channel, if you're new to the channel, is I look at the spiritual blocks. I look and see how those blocks play out as karmic themes. And then we look and see what is going to happen, but also what you can do to actually shape shift your situation, especially when you're dealing with soulmate, twin flame relationships, especially if you're dealing with reactive behavior. Reactive behavior that happens because you have a trauma is always going to be sabotaging. So I feel like you're dealing with a person that continually gets in their own way. It's like they have a block in believing that they can have the type of relationship. They've only been in bad relationships. So they could be someone that's commitment phobic. We're going to look and see what the triggers are. Now, everybody has triggers. Soulmates do come into the life, and they do trigger as much as there's as much passion. There is triggers, and that allows us to look and see what actually created the reactive behavior. Now we'll see who's reactive first, because understand, if you're in a soulmate's life and they reacted to something that you did because of a trauma, hey, Jessa, ask me whatever it is that you want to ask me. I'd love to be able to answer, but I also want to share upside down. I felt like I was living my life upside down without a way to straighten it out. You kept me trapped in an endless cycle. So again, when you're in a connection with someone that is reactive because they have trauma, and we all become reactive until we heal and integrate the trauma, we have to do something different. Now, what happens is when you're in a connection with somebody that's like that, they will keep your life upside down because they don't want you to move forward, but they don't want to see you leave. And I've decided and started to avoid my friend S, what he may think or do. Oh, what he may think or do. Well, you know what? It's like if you wound up on this channel, and again, then I believe that you're meant to hear this message, right? So energy is, and I think that that's good because you're looking to avoid this person because they're not giving you what you need, obviously. So why I'm saying is a person that cares about you, but doesn't really want to change and hasn't done the healing, they may try to keep you upside down. And the upside down is like, I want to do just enough to keep you on the hook, but not really change, because they don't really know exactly what you want either. And that's part of it, Jessa. Like, and that's like, again, not uncommon. Now, just want to finish this again reading, because right now what we see is, again, somebody that's was reactive. So, and that happens, like I said, we can have friends in our life that are soulmates. We can have people in our life that are soulmates, and understand you're supposed to be in their life. Every situation is karmic. It means depending on what you do is going to be what happens, which is why, again, Jess is like, well, I'm not talking to this person. So now I want to know what it is that they feel. Let's see what they feel, because it's, again, I always believe that, again, energy goes to the message, to the message goes to the person that needs to hear it. So we're going to see, again, I'm grateful for the spiritual lesson. So sometimes, again, when you have love for someone, but it's difficult and everyone's getting triggered, a lot of times in order to find relief, we do look at ourselves. So I believe that right now, if you're in separation from a person, they're reflecting on it, and they're, again, not really doing anything, because they say, like, again, more like thinking about it. And this, a lot of times, is what happens. We have to process. So if you're like, how come this person isn't moving fast enough? Well, understand everyone's process is different. And a lot of times when you're dealing with a person that doesn't want to see their truth when you're there, they have a big ego. So they have to process a lot. They have to process how you think, what they think, the all different scenarios, and understand the ego is always looking for a way that they don't have to take responsibility. And then there's always the process of having to come back and surrender your ego and apologize. And so, but the person needs to first say, is this person important to me? Because if it's a soulmate, understand it's a divine relationship and you can't control love. God says, nope, this isn't this is a connection that's unconditional love. It can't be broken, it can't be manipulated, because I'm love. God says, I'm the universe, and the universe is inside you and this person. This is what it feels like when you surrender. Understand that the person doesn't really want to surrender. What makes a person surrender is passion. Like, it's like, I want to forget. My ego is like, fuck them, you know? I mean, everyone gets like that when a person hurts. You know, it's like, that's the first reaction. That's the first reaction. But what it always brings is self-observation. If the person really is a soulmate, someone that's supposed to be, and the person is a connection. We know that it's a connection because the person, it's a spiritual descending. Well, though, again, a lot of times, well, again, when you're tapped into a soulmate twin flame energy, well, then your energy, like, you're so tapped into that person, and that person's very tapped into you, is called a psychic cord. So you would lose control, because, listen, how do you manifest? You manifest your thoughts and your emotions, right? That's what makes people take action. And we already know that somebody was very reactive. And what happened is, I feel like you didn't react the way that they expected, but now you're feeling it because it's, again, it felt good at that time because that person was in the wrong. But now it's like the unconditional love. It goes back to unconditional love, which God says it's not really about right or wrong, because we don't keep the score with unconditional love. God says, I'm love. And, you're learning that you're not separate from me. And this person's coming into your life to point out where that is. And so when you feel all like, I'm out of control, that's a trigger. That's a trigger. And you would, because you're tapped in. You feel that person's energy. They feel your energy. And if they're in balance too, they're not happy. They're like looking back and being like, I was an asshole. Look how I reacted. It's like, but understand these situations happen for spiritual awakening, for spirit, like you wouldn't, this person is actually helping you. And that's really, from a spiritual perspective, you have to understand. I mean, am I fucking lying to you? Am I lying to you? You see what the cards are saying? It's like this person knows that. So that's why I'm saying you would feel like you lost control. But when you're an empath too, when you're a sensitive person, you feel a lot of things, you think a lot of things, which creates a lot of emotions. And if you're tapped into someone else and it's a soulmate, you can feel that person's energy. Remember, that energy transcends time and space. It's like, again, because unconditional love does. So you would feel that. You are the person of my dreams. And I think a lot of times separation is what did this. I am intimidated by you. So again, like a lot of times too, with soulmates think differently. They do things differently. They don't respond the same way. And it's so you learn, but you inspire, and they can intimidate. And this person's not as secure as they perceive to be. You make me want to be a better person, which soulmates do. They make us change. You are actually changing because you wouldn't be able to stay uncomfortable. And that's the thing, like over too much emotion and too much thought creates overstimulation. You wouldn't know what you feel after time, especially when you're again thinking about it. When someone thinks about it, it's like I said, and it's the emotional thing. You have to understand you would shut off after a certain amount of time. So right now what we're seeing is this person isn't doing anything. There's a realization. That's what we see. We don't see them taking action. So you might be like, well, they knew the whole time. Maybe you knew the whole time and they acted like they knew the whole time, but they didn't know how important you were. Right. So you're thinking about it for a few days now, but like I said, at the time you're saying like this person and you are not together, right? They didn't act the way that you wanted them to be. They didn't give you what you needed. So we know it was a spiritual lesson. And so when two people haven't learned the lesson, or even one person, they can't really move on. It's called a psychic cord. It creates because there's still emotion there. There's still thought there. There's an energetic thing. You are only in physical form to learn and to manifest. You're a spiritual being having a human experience. You're supposed to be learning that you're not separate from love and you need to evolve. Anywhere where you have a shadow, which is a trigger, is a wound that needs to be healed and integrated. So this person, right, is also right. That's what I'm saying. That's what it says, because they're intimidated by you. Again, but they've been thinking a lot about it. When you're like, what are they going to do? I said, I don't see them doing anything. What I do see is a realization, however, of you make me want to be a better person, like because you intimidate me and that you are someone that's important to me. Is again, you're the person of my dreams. I stay awake, sometimes thinking of you, but if the person's not secure, they're not really gonna like come to you and say anything. They're still processing information. And that's what I'm saying, because they didn't really act good. They know that they didn't act good. They were reactive. So it's like they have to think about what they did, then things from your perception, and then how they created more problems on how they dealt with it. So I don't really see them doing anything except for processing everything right now. I'm not going to give into fear. I know fear is only an illusion. So it's again, like I feel like this person, we are coming into union. I feel like this person is coming back. I feel the sexual energy between us, yet is beyond physical attraction. It needs to be elevated to the expression of deep unconditional love. So this person again knows that they have to be ready to come back in the right way, which is avoiding you, because it's like, I don't really know whether I want to do that. Spirit knows what to do. And when it's a soulmate, you feel like unconditional love. There's a soul recognition. This person, it's not like they don't care. There's a lot of passion here. There's a lot of, and yes, the person was reactive, but like I said, what it did was it caused a lot of self observation, which is, what do I want? What do I want from my life? Are you even important in my life? Because I hate to tell you, but a lot of times you think that they're just talking to you. They're not talking. People usually aren't. They're usually talking to a bunch of people, and they're so overstimulated from talking, they don't really know until you remove yourself. And so this person's ego got in the way, so they were reactive. And then now that you were gone, there was the process of, what did I like? First, you're gone. I noticed that you're gone. I don't even notice that you're gone for a little while. I hate to bust your bubble, but I'm talking to a few people. And then it's like, I realize you're gone. And now I'm comparing you to other people. And I see the difference. And now I actually have to look at my behavior and see whether you're important. There's a whole process here, is what we're seeing. So, which is, you're like, well, I'm avoiding, yeah, but you had a realization, and your process is a little bit different. That you got triggered, you pull away and expect this person to just try and fix it, when really they're like, I don't really even, because a lot of people talk to every single day, and they don't, and it's phony. People lie, people are fake. So people have to actually see that there's a real thing. And that's why I'm saying there's a part of you that's like, well, I feel like they're avoiding me. They are, because again, they had to process everything and then actually look at their own bad behavior. And like you said, the last part is always surrendering the ego. Person, a person has unconditional love for you when they surrender their ego. They come back and say that they're sorry, and then there's action applied to it. The problem is not that this person doesn't know, it's that I have to do work. So again, healing. We have soulmates to step into our best self. This person said, I know you are making me, you might make me into a better person. But you intimidate me, because I'm not exactly, I know I'm not there. Part of it is I'm comfortable being this way. I'm not going to lie. It's like, do you like to go to the gym every day at the crack ass dawn at 7 o'clock, even though it's good for you? No, it's like, yeah, I know it's good for you. I like the results. Like, yeah. But do I want to do? No. It's like, because that means that I have to be uncomfortable. I have to, release. So it's a lot. Well, I think again that the person has a process. And so, I mean, my heart is with another right now. I have to finish this karmic contract. So again, some of you guys are with somebody that is connected to somebody else, which could also be the reason why this person is avoiding. But I miss you. And like, let's both not run away. So you might have to be careful that this person doesn't come back into your life and want things their way, because they do feel the connection. But if they're with someone else, a lot of times it's like, well, I do want you, but because I have a connection, but I've invested time with this person, and maybe I don't really know how things are going to go with you. So I don't really, so it's what people feel that they can get away with. And so again, if you told this person, no, I'm not going to put up with it, then maybe, but I'm feeling like the person's going to come back and try and do it their way regardless. And I know that that's not a positive. No one wants to hear that, especially when you like the person and you're like, well, why the fuck would they do that? Our story isn't over yet. It's the same thing. Our story isn't over yet. So, like I said, I feel like, again, there is a process too, but this person does plan on coming back. In this story, they don't know when they're coming back. There's a process to healing. Just because we want a person to be healed doesn't mean that they're going to process it the way. Like I said, there was a lot of fear here, like I said, and fear makes a person react. And when a person reacts and it's a soulmate, well, it's again, soulmates teach all about unconditional love. So the union is all about really that there's a soul recognition, and this person does want to change because they were a player. They don't really want that. And so no, they haven't figured out everything yet. No, they haven't. But they do know that the story isn't over yet because they're still thinking about you, but they're intimidated by you because you would be to be a better person, to step into being a better person requires change. And what makes us change? Unconditional love. Soulmates do. They come into the life to show a different something different. So it's again, if you don't feel that, then maybe that's not your story. But like I said, I feel the sexual energy between us, yet is beyond the physical attraction, but it needs to be elevated to the expression of deep unconditional love. So again, this person is saying, yeah, I feel the connection, but I still kind of want to like low vibe it and but still kind of be a player sometimes. Maybe still not have to be accountable all the time. Maybe people have been in bad relationships. So just because you come into their life as a connection, it doesn't mean that they don't have fears about what their perception of a relationship is. Relationships are something that happen over time. So unless this person still found their balance where they came in and were a friend and giving you time, relationships happen over time, then it's like I said, person's just going to stay over here and be like, eventually I'm going to elevate to the 3D. And what you feel is they're never going to elevate to the 3D. And they probably wouldn't if you say, well, I'm not going to talk to you. You have to find a middle ground. You have to find your balance, which is I'll still talk to you, but I'm going to date a lot of other people, and really you'll be in my life, but until you show me that you can level up, you won't, because unconditional love makes a person change, makes people do things, but not if you give it the whole thing. And that's what you're feeling, because the answer is never just yes or no. A lot of times when you're dealing with the soulmate, why we're fighting between our heart and our mind is because our mind knows one thing, our heart wants something else. But in order to find the balance in the situation, what we have to do is we actually have to compromise a little bit in what we want, because we feel it needs to look a certain way and be a certain way. You both feel the connection because the connection is real, but it requires people to change. Like I said, and that's not a bad. Just contact me. I may not respond, but knowing you care opens my heart. So again, this person's still like, I want you to do all the work because it's like, but I'm not really 100% ready to change. And that's what I said. This person's going through their process. And so before, when you first, I don't even think this person really cared or noticed or was whatever. Now they do. But that's why I said a lot of times it just shows how much we invest, right? We invest, and we actually think that the person that we're investing in is giving as much as we are. And what you saw is that they didn't. And that's why you feel the way, because you're like, I know what they gave. They didn't give. And I know, but it's again, they did because this person kept you in their life for a certain amount of time and gave a little bit and didn't think that they were growing any feelings. So they didn't realize your importance until you left. So again, you were giving too much. And that's what the spirit was saying. It says, one of us is sad or angry, and it's creating an energetic match in a frequency with the other. Stay conscious. So if this is a soulmate, like you said, you can feel this person. And by you being angry, you can't feel them because you're feeling yourself. And that's what you said to me before. You're like, I don't even know what I feel. It's like, I don't feel, it's overstimulation because you're staying stuck in the story of what this person did. And this person's also thinking about what they did and how they did it and how things should have been. And that creates a lot of emotion, which creates a lot of thinking, creates a lot of emotion, creates a lot of overstimulation, which is, I don't know what the fuck I feel now because I'm thinking so much about it. So you're like, I don't even know. Yeah, because you get to a place of numbness. However, when you get to a place of surrender, what's left is unconditional love because God says it can't be destroyed. So you're like, no, this is what I feel. And Spirit says, well, you're in your, again, that story of what happened, how it happened, why it happened. And, I mean, I think that what happens is we do have connections to people and we do can have that and that person can have that connection too, but everyone responds differently. Everybody, we think a soulmate should act the way that we do, is going to be the same way. They're not. It's like they have their process too. And sometimes the depth of the connection alone for some people are like, oh, it freaks me out because it's too real. It's too deep. I can't hide anything from you. I never felt this way. I feel like I don't have any control. And so, again, that's not uncommon for to have a person run away. They unfortunately do. The problem comes is if you chase that person. Too rare, I feel right with the person, but that's a soulmate, soul recognition. The problem with the soul recognition is when you are like, this is what I feel, and I know that this person feels it too. So this is how I'm going to act to show appreciation and love and really connect, because then you're thinking this person's going to do the same. When meanwhile, this person may express that they love you by like washing your fucking car. Meanwhile, you're like, I planned like a weekend away and did this and did this, and this is what I got. Like, again, where everyone's love language is different. Everybody's traumas are different. So their process, so the soul recognition is unconditional love. You're learning you're not separate from unconditional love, because that's the energy of the universe. That's the energy of God. That's the energy that connects us to each other. It's the flow of the universe. It's like when you have a soul recognition, that is a past life karmic mate. We live many, many lifetimes to learn that we're not separate from love. We wouldn't learn it in one lifetime. How many times you get stuck in the same karmic theme of victimization, betrayal, or I never get that. You always hear people say that never happens for me. It's again a karmic theme is something. Sometimes it takes 2 or 3 times to go through a karmic theme to learn it, to integrate it. To fully learn is to integrate. So to go back into the relationship, we wouldn't volunteer. No one would volunteer to go into something that you're going to be all reactive about and act the wrong way and feel uncomfortable and feel this pain because you're like, I feel so connected. Why isn't it working out? It makes me feel like there's something wrong with me, when really Spirit's saying a person shouldn't be able to make you feel this way. This person is a soulmate. But understand, soulmates are all about, from a spiritual perspective, about helping you grow and evolve into the highest state of consciousness, which is unconditional love. And so you have forgiveness there. So learning forgiveness when a person treats you like shit. And that you're like, well, if anything, you were supposed to be there by my side, but you weren't. And Spirit's saying is, again, learning that everybody has their issues, but it's all about wanting to be a better person. But there's a process. If a person's at a lower state consciousness and a whole karmic experience played out and they're not used to taking responsibility, and they're used to getting triggered or maybe not even caring. They have to go through their process. So that's why I'm saying it's not that there's wrong, it's wrong or right, but you keep judging yourself. And because you do, I want to look at the inner child wounds, because it's like, well, maybe there's an inner child wound in you that needs to be integrated where you're like, I feel like I'm stuck now because this is like not done. Well, it's will be done. This person is saying that they can feel that the energy is not finished yet. They're not ready to come in and be that person that they need to be for you. But understand, no one's telling you that you got to sit here and wait either. And to feel bad, you're like, but I never felt that way. Yes, and either did that person. So sometimes you need to go on and show this person, I don't need you. I can fill my own cup up all the way, and you get whatever it falls out of the cup. But I'm good without you, because becoming unconditional love by doing what you love connects you to other people. And a lot of times we do need to interact with other people to help teach this person how we want to be treated, because being interactive with other people, they see other people treat us nice, they see we have other options, they see without you saying it, I have a better options, and I think that that's what it is. Well, the thing is, a lot of times, like, again, you need to integrate the spiritual lesson of what it is that needs to be healed a lot of times in order to get over it. And also, if there's nothing else in your life and this person was your only sense of passion, that's another thing, like I said, of giving too much to this person because of that connection will always leave you more wounded, because it exposes that there's part of you that isn't integrated, and that's the issue. Like, again, not enough self-love. I can't make this shit up. Like, again, like this person like exposed to you what you need to do for yourself. And that's why I'm saying this is not bad. Like, because this person does show that they're going to come back. But what I do see is you may not take them back because you may not like the fact that they put you through all this. And or even feeling like you don't have self-control, or you expect them to be a certain way or act a certain way. And if that's the case, it's not going to work, because you're expecting this person to give you the love that you should be giving yourself, where this person is just supposed to be the excess. Like, again, you fill your glass up all the way, and whatever falls out of the cup is what everyone else gets. Then you're always, again, drawing people, situations, experiences to you that are filling you up. So you're self-sustaining. And really, the universal law, spiritual law, which spiritual laws are the laws of God, the laws of the universe, the laws of spirit, says you must give yourself first, because you teach people how you want to be treated. Just like if the airplane goes down, you put the oxygen on yourself first, and then you can help everyone else. Here you are, you went into this relationship and you're like, I feel this soul connection. And you treated this person the way you wanted to be treated. And they, again, never had deep connection. So yeah, and that's why I'm saying that was the key for you. You came in and you gave too much, and that's why it said now that you're doing it, it's not just about pampering yourself, because that's one way, but it's also to like invest in yourself. Because when you invest in yourself, you're going to connect to different people, and they're going to help you again to create your life. We live our bliss by doing what we love, by giving and receiving of love. That's how you fill your glass up all the way, and you become so alluring, because it's not as if this person didn't have an attraction. They did, and they do, and a connection. But it's if you don't have anything of your own, will you come in and tell me how to live my life? Am I going to give up my life? A lot of times people think that, even though you wouldn't do that, they feel as if, they base they bring their baggage from their past relationship, unfortunately, into the new relationship. And their baggage could be based on also what they've also done. So I think that I first avoided, maybe this person is inviting me for some hangouts and I declined. Well, I think like it's all about, it shouldn't matter if you declined or what, like at first you said I first avoided, maybe the person is inviting me. I think it's, again, they would, they have to come and ask too. The whole nonverbal bullshit of I'm going to like your comment, or like your thing on Facebook, or like do these immature things instead of come straight up and be an adult about it. It's not, it starts a relationship off on a toxic foot, because it's like you're teaching that you don't know how to have a conversation, you don't know how to communicate. That's why. So especially at home, I am not comfortable to go there. What is his intention to invite me? Chill and watch that. Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm saying. You want this person to get to know you. That's why I said, when you fill your own cup up all the way by being interacted in life, what'll happen is a person won't be so quick to ask you to do Netflix and chill, because see, this is not that type of a person. They invest in themselves, and they might, I don't want them to get the wrong idea. They're not really coming straight out and saying, hey, hey, just let's go out and let's get something to eat, or let's do this, or hey, can I talk to you? Not even let's get, can you make time for me? Whatever. They're not coming and verbalizing to you. Then this, you're supposed to like intuitively and feel and act on what you feel. This way, when they decide that it's too much or they don't want to deal with it, then they can pull away. And this is what we saw in this. This is what we saw in this story. This story was for you. And it's like, oh yeah, it's like you don't want to communicate. You don't want to say anything to me. You want me to do all the guesswork. And in that, you won't get what you want. You won't get what you need. And that's why I'm saying like that, it wouldn't be able to work that way. And this is why this person knows what they have to do. And there is a connection, but they're like, I'm not ready to do it yet. They admit it. They even admitted in this card reading, it's like, I'm not ready to do that. It's like right here, literally, it says it in this card. It's like, I feel sexual energies, but we need to like level up to unconditional love. And that he may do something bad. He is giving me jokes, so I'm afraid to joke. Well, I think that it's like I said, a person should do more than like, it shouldn't, the first time I hang out with you shouldn't be Netflix and chill at your house, because obviously we all know what Netflix and chill means. It leads to other things, and then it becomes more of a physical type relationship, which is what I said this person is used to. This person is used of that. Like, and the surface, and that's why I'm saying you're making them change. They know who you are, they know what you want. And that's why I'm saying this person, as of right now, they're not ready to do it, because for whatever reason, they're just not ready to do it. And they know that you would want them to, and that's why you intimidate them, because it's like, well, like you're ready to be that type of person. Again, the person's nervous. I kept getting that, but at least it brought them to a place of like self observation and like awakening to at least what it is that they want. Before this person was just like I'm gonna do what I want, when I want, how I want, and all that. So, you know, I wish you luck with it. I mean, in the near future, we'll just pull 3 cards to see in the near future if this person's going to do anything, because what I saw in the cards right now, this person was not, because they were in processing, and I don't know how long that will be. We'll just pull three cards on it to see what these three cards say. Ace of Cups. Okay, overflow with love. Let's see. Up. Keeping it all in reverse. The High Priestess, so intuitively, and so in keeping it in, and Death. So again, I do believe that this person is going to change. Now, it can either be a full deep transformation, or this person that like could be the end of the connection. And how I see, meaning it can go either way, because this person has a lot of feelings for you. It's again, it's not that they don't have a lot of feelings, but they like keeping it all in. I mean, High Priestess reversed. It's like they know exactly this type of connection, but like I said, they know that they have to transform. Ace of Swords, like again, awareness, like change needs to happen, and they know it. It's like Empress, feminine power. And so I'm not really feeling it would, this person may come back, but I'm feeling you would not be happy. And I'm going to tell you why, because they're going to keep trying to get it on their way. Because I got the Empress reversed. And it's almost like they only in this feminine energy where they have the person do for them. They don't communicate. And the problem is that, they know nothing manifests from that, to be honest with you. They know, and they don't want to change. That's where the cards are right now. And that's why I said I pulled before, but I wanted to see whether if I used a different deck, that whether or not it would say. And really what it says is this person just isn't ready to change. They want to stay in that feminine energy of like having like the person do everything. And yes, I like having all the, like I like the connection and the feelings that you give me, and again the passion between us, because I am very attracted to you, but I don't want to do what I need to do, and it said that before. So I'm sorry, I hate having to give messages like that, but what can we ask? What can you do to make this transition easier, to get over it? What can we do? I'll ask this deck, because sometimes it is like, okay, well, now that it's not going to work out, what am I supposed to do? Yesterday, he invited me for dinner as I told him to. He ignored me, but I declined, as what I want is he invited me not because he knows what I feel. No, I think again, if someone invites you for something, it's because if someone invites you to something, it's like they want to invite you. I think it's a lot of like again back and forth. This person does have feelings, but there is a sense of again either that you don't want to change and you're playing games and this is what he feels, or this is his energy. So one or the other, because at this point, affirmations: I listen to myself and I acknowledge my needs. I assert myself and retain my power. I am brave and gentle. I don't have to be afraid of others. I respect myself and am respected by others. So I think the issue is for you, it's not yes or no. It's not yes or no. You keep like ignoring this person. It's like because, and where you're like, nothing's going to prove to you because you already have wounds and you're looking for it. So it's like this person, when they give something, you're not even open to it when they do give it. So it's like you have to decide what you want. And what this says is affirm. And what it says is, I listen to myself, and you listen to yourself through your intuition. If you believe in a higher power, if you believe that there's something greater than yourself, and that you realize that greater is also inside of you. That's where your higher self is. Your soul is connected to this higher, like, energy, the source energy, where your spirit is your essence of you. If you realize that, then you need to again be able to listen to yourself, but you need to know what you want first. And there's a part of you that seems to be all over the place. Even if you go back and you read all your messages, you'll see, I want this person, but I don't want this person. And and I understand that. A lot of times it's like, well, I want this person, but this person hasn't shown me what they need to show me. And so now that they're trying to show me, there's a sense of, now I still don't trust you. So again, you can't have it both ways. You'll ruin the relationship. You need to say, again, I listen to myself. And what you want is, you want to be in this connection, because you wouldn't be here now on this channel talking about it and obsessing about what you did and how you did it. And that's why you can't even feel yourself. You're like, because too much thought, too much emotion creates overstimulation. You're like, I thought about it and I'm just stuck between my heart and my head. And that's when you tap into your gut. And part of you needs to, again, like, go and think about something else. And if you can't, then write down on a piece of paper all the pros and cons and figure out whether you want this person. And then if you want this person, then realize when you're in a relationship, you have to create balance. Your issue is, you're going into the relationship and you're like, this is, again, what it's going to be, and it's going to be permanent. No. Relationships are all about going with the flow, finding your balance, and about self-love, which is why you pulled self-love. You're giving yourself the energy. What that means is, there's time for work, there's time for friends, there's time for hobbies and other interests, and then, yes, there's time for this person. But this person only gets a slice of pizza. It's like they don't get the entire pie. You're like, well, I'm going to be with them, they're going to get a whole pie. No, they don't. You have to teach them how you want to be treated. And so that you're not constantly, the one thing that they do, if they do it wrong, you're going to be like, fuck you, it's over. You're going to seem like a crazy person. You have to be like, okay, listen, you're like in a mood, or you're not seeing things. I'm going to go to my tango dancing tonight, or I'm going to go wherever. Guess what? If the person cools off because you're not around a day or two, you have other things going on, they come and pick you up. And as you're walking out of tango dancing, you got Juan on your arm. Now, Juan's gay, but he doesn't know that. It's like his perception is, what's going on here? Meanwhile, it's like, what you're saying is, I have a life. My cup is, you're here, whether you're not here, my life is great. It's like, so meaning, like, you need to respect me. You're afraid that this person is going to get over on you somehow. Then, so it's like you're not trusting yourself. Like, this person has so much power. It's like they shouldn't. Yeah, you want this person, but it's not right for both of us. I put him into friend. He was flirting with, right, but you have to make a decision one way or the other. And that's, otherwise you're like not really being fair to this person. You're being abusive to this person by being like, no, now you need to be this. No, what are you doing? You can't do that. You got to do it like this. That's not going with the flow. That's controlling somebody. And then over time, the person would resent you, because even if in the beginning they're like, no, I like this person, I can deal with it. Eventually, no one can deal with it. People say they can deal with shit, and then they're in it for a certain amount of time. They're like, I can't deal with this. Like, it's like, you got to respect me. You gotta, right. Like, he's going to get over on you. He can't get over on you if you're, again, balanced and have other things in your life. It's like, first of all, the person looked like a fool, because it's like, well, what? You went out and you cheated or talked to someone else. Well, meanwhile, I have a life and a lot of other things. It just means that you don't have other things in your life. And it's not like you're going to be around with somebody else over time. That's your weakness. But if that's what you're afraid of, then you shouldn't be with the person that you think is going to cheat automatically and look for it either. Now, if that's just your paranoia, then the way that you got to heal that is you have a love affair with your own life. Understand when you're not so close up to the picture, you see different perception. So your intuition works best when you're not so close up to the picture. You can tell if somebody does something is off, you're not around. I'm not saying never to be around. Again, it seems like you have a second chakra in balance. It's not all or nothing. It's like, or that fact that I need to control. It's, I'm going to go with the flow because I trust me. And it depends on what I do. It's like I'm in my life. So, which means that you got to figure out time to also navigate around your schedule to be with me, as I need to navigate around my schedule to be with you. This is what it means equal. This person wasn't willing to do that. You weren't willing to do that then in this story. Where in the story, I felt like it was the other person that was not willing to do it, but somebody was not willing to do it because of their fear. And it's like, well, then you're just gonna like you're gonna regret it, and that's what you're gonna know because you're like, well, there is a connection, and I don't really I want to do that. Relationships happen over time, and who's to say that they would stay in that friend zone? You're like, it was only supposed to be a friend. It was only supposed to be. Who's to know? I mean, like things change. Like I said, the controlling needs to like not be. You need to be able to be strong within yourself and then take it day by day because it can't be so unfair to the other person. It's again in God's hands. So that's again what I was saying about being able to go with the flow is because you got the higher self inside of you, and that's the God part of self. But when it's in God's hands and it's a soulmate, which we saw that it was a soulmate relationship, it means you can't control it anyway because you can't destroy it. You can't manipulate it. I mean, you can, but you're still going to have feelings. You're just going to create more issues if you do that because you're like, I'm going to try and manipulate and scare this person. And then it backfires. And then what happens is you're the person that's sitting there being like, well, now that it backfired, I didn't get what I wanted the person to give me more. Now they gave me less. And it's all games, but the unconditional love is still there. It just, the ego gets in the way. So you got to get out of your ego. And the ego is all about fear. Of, oh, I need it to look this way. It needs to be that way. You can plan everything and understand that you can't, it's never going to come out the way that you plan. And the reason why is because there's a lot of things in the environment that we don't have control over. And when it's a soulmate, it's a karmic relationship, which means spirit saying, there's a lesson that you got to learn here. There's a lesson that you got to learn here. And that's what the issue is. And that is to surrender. That's to put it in God's hands. And that's because you're like, I do have feelings for this person and I want them in my life. And it bothers me that they're not in my life. So it's not an all or nothing thing. It should be friends with the potential for it to grow without like restriction, and you need to see what you feel comfortable with. And you might need to journal about it. You might need to write about it and say, this is what I feel comfortable with. Otherwise, you're gonna cut yourself off from love. You don't want to do that. Like I said, you want to be open to it. And like I said, and the way to do that here is to surrender. And that is a lot of times what spirit teaches us. Because again, at one point, maybe someone got over on us, someone hurt us. So we don't want to get hurt again. And so we try to create, protective barriers, but really all you're doing is you're keeping the love out. When meanwhile, you're like, but I love this person, but I don't. My head and my heart are fighting. And that means find your balance. And the balance is always found in the gut. It's again, because the gut tells the truth. It's not wishy-washy like the heart, and it's not like logical like the mind. It's the God center. It's a little brain. It's more accurate. It's coming from the moment. So you got to get yourself into a place where you can trust that and navigate from that space instead of this space, because it shows that you've gone through trauma. You've gone through experiences where you've been hurt. And that's why you're like, that's why you're that way. And that's why this isn't bad. Should I just still confess this before or avoid? No, No, I think that you should be honest. This person shows that they have feelings for you. Um, but if you don't, it's like a lack of growth for you. It's like it's just going to keep you like in a place of like you're almost like in limbo now. And that's what I don't like. I don't like the fact that you're in limbo. It's like I want to be with this person, but I'm so afraid and I'm so conflicted. It's like you need to be open. And then it's not just about being open, you need to integrate the lesson. A block will continue to feel like a trigger. Again, I'm so nervous, I just can't until you integrate it because the spirit is saying, you like this person, but you can't let go of this person. You have to do something different. Like I said, so I would go back into the relationship, but I would set appropriate boundaries for yourself. And that might mean I tell this person that I do have feelings for you and I don't want you to feel like I'm jerking you around, but I need for us to take things very slowly. Or I want to date other people, or I want to keep it like an open relationship where we get to know each other over time. Meaning it's up to you. You're supposed to be setting the boundaries. You don't set the boundaries. You're letting this person set the boundaries, and then you're like, no, I don't like that. Let's change it. So it's a real second chakra imbalance where you keep getting in your own way. So I'm going to leave that there. I don't know if you're still even on anymore, but I hope that was helpful. And good luck. And it's a very common issue when we get stuck between our heart and our mind with these soul relationships, but they're all about growing. They're all about helping us evolve into the best version of ourselves. So again, and the key is to listen to the higher self. And we can do that through again getting a better connection to our intuition and by meditating and to really be able to, you know, act from that place of balance instead of our ego.